BC Science 10 1.1. In this chapter of BC Science 10, you'll learn about the biomes, which are the divisions of Earth's biosphere. However, in this section, you will be learning about the main biomes that are land-based. In other words, the 8 terrestrial biomes that compose the Earth's surface. Biomes are complex collections of ecosystems in which a variety of components live. They include large regions of similar characteristics and components. These components can be considered either biotic or non-biotic/abiotic. Biotic components are the living organisms of an environment. This can range from plants to animals, fungi to bacteria, and the like. Opposite from biotic, yet similar in the way they interact and affect their biomes, are the non-living components of an environment such as sunlight, soil, moisture, and temperature. Looking back at figure 1.3, we can see habitats are found on the low point of the pyramid, which you will learn about in section 2 of chapter 1. But for now, let's focus on the biomes of the world. However, organism-related components are not the only ones influencing factors that affect the characteristic and distribution of biomes. Two of the most important abiotic factors to any of Earth's systems is temperature and precipitation. Because of these factors, certain biotic organisms, such as slugs, ferns, mosses, and large trees, would not be able to survive where they are located now. The amount of precipitation, coupled with the temperatures found in that region, decide whether it can sustain itself or not. A small little lab that could help your understanding of this factor is observation through a climatograph or climograph, which can be recorded to observe the average pattern of weather conditions in your region. Take figure 1.9 for instance, a climatograph for Tofino, British Columbia found north. You can create your own climatographs for different towns and regions by recording the average amount of precipitation in millimeters per month and the average temperatures in degrees Celsius per month. Use this data to create a climatograph and observe the changes in your area. Other factors that can be observed can correspond with the previously mentioned factor, latitude and elevation. Latitude is the distance measured south or north of the equator that can either pass the Tropic of Cancer or the Tropic of Capricorn. Actually, looking at figure 1.7, the closer you are to the equator, which is the closest in terms of receiving direct sunlight, it is much warmer, which in turn heats the moist air and later will produce rainfall. And as you've probably guessed, elevation kind of works the same way, yet it works on the basis of a thinner atmosphere as you increase in height, thus retaining less heat. You may also notice that the winds change constantly depending on if you are located on the windward side or the leeward side of the mountain, which can influence the cloud formations. Also, ocean currents help regulate climate and temperature. Lastly, for biotic components to live in certain biomes, they must adapt to their environments. Different types of organisms have different features and characteristics which help in their adaptation to their habitat. Structural, physiological, and behavioral. A structural adaptation is a physical feature or characteristic of an organism's body that has a specific function that contributes to its survival. If you are ever out in the wilderness, during the summer you may notice a fox having brownish-gray coat. If the same fox would have a thick, white coat of fur during the winter, revealing that it's an Arctic fox with a structural adaptation for natural camouflage. Looking at figures 1.12 and 1.13, the examples of a wolf and a cacti show how their physiological adaptations allow them to live in their conditions. For the wolf, it has the ability to maintain a constant body heat no matter the temperature. For the cacti, its process of photosynthesis allows it to require half as much water as other plants do. Lastly, behavioral adaptations refer to instincts organisms have to stay alive. These adaptations include how an animal might feed, migrate, fight, or flee when the time calls for it. In figure 1.14, the example of this owl has an unusual adaptation for it to hiss like a snake to scare off predators. This biome is in the upper northern hemisphere, just below the ice caps, at 60 to 70 degrees north latitude. This biome is always under a layer of permanently frozen soil or permafrost. Its flat terrain leads to poor drainage. No trees grow because of the permafrost and the short growing season. The few greens that are able to grow do so close to the ground. This biome is found in the northern hemisphere between 45 to 65 degrees north latitude across Canada and 55 to 65 degrees across northern Europe and Russia. The terrain is very rough and littered with marshes and wetlands and wet soil. Along with this is a short summer growing season of 50 days. These forests are found mainly in eastern Canada, US, Asia, and western Europe. They occur at 23.5 north and 23.5 to 38 degrees south. Seasonal changes are very large along with daily temperatures. The soil is enriched and the growing seasons are long. This biome can be found along the coast from 28 to 56 degrees south and 38 to 61 degrees north. These rainforests occur usually in strips and backed by mountains. Geological changes can be credited from ice ages and heavy morning fogs. Temperate grasslands are also called prairies. Temperate grasslands can be found above 23.5 north degrees and below 23.5 south degrees. Tropical grasslands or savannas are found from 5 to 20 degrees north and south of the equator. In both of these areas, the land is mainly flat with very rich fertile soil. In both areas, there may be erosion caused by strong winds. Precipitation usually happens over periods of time, and grass fires are likely. Tropical rainforests are located in a band 4,800 kilometers wide around the equator, mostly in the area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, known as the tropical zone. The soil is poor in nutrients as it is not retained and the forest floor is very dark. However, this biome has the largest variation of different plant species. Hot deserts are found on every continent around 30 degrees north and south of the equator. Cold deserts are found in dry regions in the interior of continents above 30 degrees north latitude and below 30 degrees south latitude. These polar land masses are the large ice caps of the Arctic, Greenland, and Antarctica. Here, very strong winds are found and soil is scarce. Due to freezing conditions, freshwater is also minimal.